All right, so we got El Alchemista, Paulo Coelho. I'm your boy Marcoelboriken, the More of Light. Check out moorsoflight.com to get you some more empowerment. We have Spanish and English for the Moorish Alchemists, part 56. And we're going to find out if Santiago was actually right about his prediction of a battle. Here it says, a la mañana siguiente, había 2000 hombres armados entre las palmeras del Alfayún. Um, the following morning, there were 2,000 men armed by the palm trees of the Alfayún. Antes de que el sol llegase a lo alto del cielo, 500 guerreros aparecieron en el horizonte. Before the sun could reach the highest point in the sky, there was 500 warriors or soldiers that showed up or appeared on the horizon. It says, los caballeros entraron en el oasis por la parte norte. Parecía una expedición de paz, pero tenían armas escondidas encima de los mantos blancos. The gentlemen or the men found the oasis from part of the north. They looked like they were on an expedition of peace, but they had arms under their white cloaks. Cuando llegaron cerca de la gran tienda que quedaba en el centro del Alfayún, sacaron las cimitarras y los fusiles. When they arrived closer to the center of Al Fayum, they started to take out their scimitars and their arms, and they attacked a store that was empty. Los hombres del oasis rodearon a los caballeros del desierto. The men of the oasis surrounded those gentlemen of the desert. En media hora había 499 cuerpos esparcidos por el suelo. In half an hour, there were about 499 bodies that were scattered around the floor. Los niños estaban al otro extremo del bosque de palmeras y no vieron nada. The children were at the other extreme of the oasis in a more dense palm tree forest sort of area, and they didn't see anything. Las mujeres rezaban por su marido en las tiendas y tampoco vieron nada. The women were praying for their husbands in the shops, in the stores, and they also didn't see anything. A no ser por los cuerpos esparcidas, el oasis parecía vivir una día normal. Except for the scattered bodies around the floor, the oasis looked like any other normal day. Solamente un guerrero fue salvado, el comandante del batallón. There was only one warrior that was saved, and it was the commander of that battalion. Más tarde fue conocido a la presencia de los jefes tribales, que le preguntaron por qué había infringido la tradición. Later, he was brought to the presence of the tribal chiefs in the oasis, and then they asked him why he had infringed upon the tradition. El comandante dijo que sus hombres estaban con hambre y sed, exhaustos por tantos días de batalla y habían decidido tomar un oasis por poder reanudar la lucha. The commander told them that his men were hungry and thirsty and exhausted for so many days of battle, and they had decided to take an oasis for themselves to continue and resume their fight. El jefe tribal dijo que lo sentía por los guerreros, pero la tradición jamás podía quebrantarse. The tribal chief told them that he felt sorry for the warriors, but the tradition never again could be broken. Lo único que cambia en el desierto son las dunas cuando sopla el viento. The only thing that can be changed is only thing that can be changed in the desert are the dunes when the wind blows. Después condenó al comandante a una muerte sin honra. Then they condemned the commander to a death with no honor. En vez de hacerle morir con el acero o con bala de fusil, instead of doing it with a sword or with a gun, se le ahorcó en una palmera también muerta. They hanged him on a palm tree that was also dead. Su cuerpo se balanceó con el viento del desierto. His body was being balanced by the wind of the desert. El jefe tribal llamó al extranjero y le dio 50 monedas de oro. Después volvió a recordar la historia de José en Egipto y le pidió que fuese el consejero del oasis. The tribal chiefs named the Santiago, called him, and gave him 50 gold coins. After he had remembered the story of Joseph in Egypt, and the tribal chief asked Santiago to be like a advisor or a counselor of the oasis. So that's going to conclude Spanish and English for the Moorish Alchemist, part 56. This is Paulo Coelho's El Alquimista. Got the sun in the front, crescent moon in the back. La única obligación de una persona es cumplir su destino. And this chapter was pretty dope because it's fulfilling and it's giving honor to ecclesiastical or biblical, well, Old Testament stories of Joseph in Egypt. And Santiago's intuition was correct in terms of there being a battle, and he saved his life, and he could add this onto his resume. And I thought it was interesting too, because these tribal chiefs gave Santiago 50 gold coins. And remember that Santiago's father initially gave him some gold coins that he had found, uh, at tilling his family's property, in agricultural exchanges. And it's pretty amazing that now Santiago has enough money and favor, quite legendary, so um to continue on with his expedition and his personal legacy and his dreams to continue on forward. So um yeah, the rules of the oasis, the neutral grounds where there's supposed to be peace at all times, that peace cannot be broken, and that particular Bedouin or Berber, Amazigh, Moorish, Moor tribe, whatever you want to call it, that tried to infringe on the rights of the peace of those that are at the oasis were obviously not spared for obviously breaking a neutral ground, like the rules of a neutral ground. So, and it's also pretty intense how they try to be slick. That battalion, they try to be slick and come with their white garbs, which white is a status symbol for travelers that come in peace. So they obviously had their weapons concealed under these white cloaks, but you know, they obviously messed up the moment that they came into the oasis and they fired into an empty market. They came and tried to ransack an empty market, opposed to actually coming in honor and trying to like be a part of the oasis formally and correctly. So that's what happened. These guys got themselves iced out of desperation. And this is all tied into really, prudence and maktub, it was written. So they got ambushed by um prediction, and Santiago right now is sitting pretty. And it's unfortunate that that battalion's tribal chief was given an execution that was dishonorable, because the actions of that particular battalion were dishonorable by breaking um a very, very long tradition of peace. And Santiago, at the end of it all, becomes the counselor of the Oasis, which he's already had two opportunities in the Maghreb, which is incredible. You think about it. He leaves Andalusia, he leaves being a shepherd, and he goes to chase his dream. And then he works at the crystal merchant shop after being robbed and taken advantage of because of dishonorable behavior. So he had another career, a whole nother lifetime that he had right there at the crystal merchant shop. And then now he has this whole other opportunity presented to him. And Fatima happens to be on the Oasis too. So he's chilling. He's chilling. So now he has much favor and he's in good graces with the people of the desert. And I'm sure his self-confidence is on a whole nother level. So that's going to conclude Spanish and English for the Moorish Alchemist part 56. I hope that you guys really, really enjoyed that. Once again, this is Paulo Coelho's El Alquimista. I recommend reading these books in their original language because Paulo Coelho is a Brazilian man. He's a South American Brazilian author, and his Moorish Latin is going to be way more intensified, because when you read The Alchemist in Spanish and when you read it in English, there's way more there's way more context, there's way more detail when it's in Spanish. So I can only imagine the detail in Portuguese, Brazilian, and Arabic, if that exists. I don't know if this book exists in Arabic, but if there is such thing as a Portuguese or an Arabic version of The Alchemist, it definitely will be a better read because the language reads off more eloquently with more detail. So I hope that you guys enjoyed that again. I'm your boy Marcoelboriken, moorsoflight.com. Check that out. Love, true peace, freedom, and justice each and every day. I hope you guys really, dig into your knowledge of self and are enjoying the work that we're producing.